which means even if you never watch the BBC, even if you don't even watch television, you could be paying a TV license.
We're talking about sex jokes and this, that, and the third. But of course, like I said last time, I have to cope with the fact that it could be much worse overall.
Your ex from Resident Evil, butt-ass naked, coming at me from millions of miles away in the universe, being all like, here, I'm gonna slap this guy, and then he's flat against the wall like Mortal Kombat.
And here we go. We are back once again with another episode of the Uncivilized Arts podcast. I'm your host, Bundy Hazan, but I go by Bandit Hayes in the online space. I am joined today by Sweet Buzz of... I keep getting this wrong. I'm sorry. Sweet Bundy of Sweet Buzz Music. One day I'll get it right. I promise. Actually, let me not make promises I can't keep. I'll try. Sweet Bunny of Sweet Buzz Music. And back from the land of Japan, Lady Celeste Orchid, who's going to be telling us all about Japan and cosplaying in Japan in a little bit. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about DareDevil Season 2. We're going to be talking about Me Before You. It's a movie, not necessarily Me Before You, but, you know, maybe we might talk about that too. We're going to be talking about The Boys Season 5, and we're going to be talking about aliens. And might talk about mummies as well, if we get a little time. Before that, I want to ask you guys how you're doing. But before I'm going to ask you guys how you're doing, I want to go on just a tiny little bit of a rant. Just a tiny little bit of a rant. And if I go too long, just cut me off. But I'll try and keep it small, because something happened today in the news, and I feel like I've got to just rant just a little bit about it. All right, so what's happened, or potentially happening, because it's not decided yet, and I hope it doesn't pass through, but it seems that there are discussions of having the TV license in the UK apply to people who watch Netflix, Amazon Prime, and, you know, on-demand services, streaming services like that. Now, for real quick, if you don't know, the TV license in the UK is what you pay to watch TV. So if you have a television or you watch any kind of live broadcast, you pay a TV license. The thing is, however, the money that you pay for a TV license only goes to the BBC, right? The British Broadcasting Corporation, or big... Well, I'm going to get into that. That's enough of BBC. But anyway, it only goes to the BBC, right? So even if you never watch the BBC, if you have a television, you have to pay the TV license. Now, I will say this in fairness, that the fact there is a TV license, it means that the BBC don't have to compete with other TV stations. And that means that they can show things that might not necessarily be popular, but it's still quite important, you know, to be shown. And it also means that they can stay unbiased. So that's a good thing. However, in reality, they are very not unbiased. They're a pretty biased corporation, and they flip-flop a lot. Plus, there's a whole history of them protecting pedophiles. We won't get into that right now. But anyway, the point is, is that, yeah, you have a TV license to watch TV. Now, the current rule is that if you watch like on-demand stuff like on Netflix, you don't have to pay a TV license, but they're saying that they want to potentially move the TV license to include that as well, which means even if you never watch the BBC, even if you don't even watch television, you could be paying a TV license. And the TV license currently is like £100 and something a year. I can't remember what, because I don't pay it because I don't watch TV. But if that happens, if that rule passes, it would be one of the biggest bullshits just ever, you know, because it's bad enough that you pay it even if you don't even watch BBC programming. Like, it's bad enough. Nobody's ever really likes a TV license. It's bad enough as it is. And basically, they're losing money because, you know, people are migrating more towards like on-demand services and things like that. And like I say, it's good that they can show things that they don't have to compete with. But bottom line is, if you show stuff that people aren't that interested in, not many people are going to tune in, right? That's just the bottom line of it. So now it's kind of like, oh, well, we need more money. Let's take it from people who don't watch. Let's take it from more people who don't watch our service. So that's potentially what's happening. If that happens, yeah, just absolute bullshit. But anyway, let me stop before I go. How you guys doing today?
That sounds
how
like
you
a lot
doing,
of
streamer?
bullshit, if you ask me. I would never pay that. That's a streaming
It's
service. That's not TV. That's completely
right.
different. Like, how are you so okay? Like, I would understand that if you would have BBC on your phone, which I imagine they have an app for that.
Yeah,
But that
iPlayer.
doesn't
Yeah,
make sense for you to stream television on your phone because of their app device. It's like everything is an app at this point. So it's just like, no, this is a streaming on demand service. This is not a television service. And they're trying to not die, the BBC, so that way they get revenue back in because they are losing to all these streaming services. So, in my outsider opinion, yeah, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Wow Presents Plus, like Netflix, all of those streaming things, those are not television. They are not broadcasted. These are internet streamed items. So if anything, they need to be tackling just internet and then change their entire wording. But the problem is, like, the BBC has shows on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But that's a license thing.
Yeah, that'd be just, I guess, Netflix striking a deal or whatever. So that shouldn't count at all. But yeah, it's just absolute nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. And I feel like it could potentially get support if the license was way cheaper. You know, if it was like if you paid something like, I don't know, £20 a year or something like that, then at least it's like, okay, it's not so bad. But when you're charging like, I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's like 170 something. But it's a lot of money for something, especially when you don't even watch their shows. You know what I mean? Like when you're paying, basically giving them money and you're not even watching their shows, but you have to by law because you got a television. It's nonsense. So basically, if you're in the UK,
to lose television sales in the UK.
It's
also
ridiculous.
You don't watch their shows. You don't watch Great British Bake Off. You don't watch the Great British Sewing Bee. You don't have any of those fun British shows you like. They're so fun.
You know what? I tell you what, when I used to watch the BBC, the last time I watched the BBC was back when Neighbours used to be on. That was when Neighbours was on BBC. I used to watch it then. Neighbours got taken over by Channel 5, and I think Channel 5, they eventually lost it as well. But yeah, I pretty much stopped watching. I will say I stopped watching TV probably on a regular basis, probably around, I want to say 2010, 2009, 2010, around about then. I stopped watching TV on a regular basis. Most of what I watched after that, or even leading up until then, was, either my DVDs that I'd watch, or your Blu-rays, or later on things on Netflix and stuff like that. But yeah, actual broadcasted television, I haven't watched on a regular basis in a long time. I kept up with Doctor Who for a little bit, but that kind of fell off for me. There was a period of time I was watching EastEnders, which is a soap opera over here, for a while. But yeah, other than that, I've not watched a lot of stuff on BBC, and I haven't watched. I think actually, I tell a lie. The last BBC program I watched was a show called Robots or Androids. I can't remember what it was called, but it's about these humanoid robots that they act like humans or something. Anyway, I watched that. I watched it on iPlayer, but I watched it at my family house where they do have a TV license. So I wasn't cheating the system.
You're cheating the system by having that. But Sweet Buzz, do you have any comments on this TV license of the UK?
I mean, it sounds like it's just tax. Basically, like they're just trying to go ahead and get more money. Me, I don't really have many streaming services. I just pirate my shit. I'm not gonna lie. I pirate a lot because it's too much. It's way too much. You got to get a streaming service for this, and then they have certain bundles, but you still got to get some streaming services because they have so much shit spread out. I got bills to pay, bills like, shit that I can't just decide to not pay. I don't have the money to just be throwing away because I want to watch a show. I'm sorry. So that's just what I do. At least I don't share my sites or anything. I'm not one of those people that will be in the comment section saying, hey, I'm upset about this. So you guys could go ahead and watch this here. And they list like a whole site. I hate when people do that because now you're exposing it. Now you're bringing attention to it. Then the site gets shut down. Now I got to look somewhere else to watch Euphoria.
That
Yeah.
happened to me. It was for manga though, and the biggest like manga site shut down. I'm like, where am I supposed to get manga now? Are you insane?
Yeah.
Oh God, what am I gonna do?
Back when I was a regular reader of manga, like no. Back when I was a regular reader of manga, like no. One of the biggest sites, I forgot which one it was. I think it was Manga Panda or something like that. One of them back then got shut down, and I was reading like maybe 3 or 4 manga at the same time. I was pissed, but it always comes back. You can never get rid of it.
I mean, yeah, there's always be somebody doing something dodgy somewhere on the internet. That's a thing. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to. I mean, my opinion on pirates is a bit nuanced. I don't have I'm not strictly speaking fully against them because I kind of understand why there's sort of a need for them, but because I would prefer to support creatives, you know, I do prefer to look for legitimate ways of doing it. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely fair to say, especially when they do things like this, where you want to do things legitimately, but they make it either super hard, super inconvenient, super expensive, you know, and it just gets to a point where you're like, dude, come on, like you're actually just taking a piss. Like, I get that, you know, people are losing money, things are going up, world's changing, but to try to fix that by taking more money from people that already don't, you know what I mean? You're basically saying you don't pay for our service because you don't use our service. Let's take money from you, and you're still not going to use our service. It's like it's just stupid. And I get it, like they don't want to go the advertising route, and I appreciate why that they don't really want to do that because again, it goes back into the whole thing of having to compete. But come on, it's just not the way. Just scale it back. If the BBC needs to scale down, you know what I mean? Just scale it all the way back and be like, look, you got one person paying the TV license. Figure out how to run a corporation based on that one person paying your TV license. Don't make people who aren't using your service pay for something they're not using.
There's 2 people paying for that license, okay? One of them is your family home. Whoa.
Okay, 2 people, fair. All right. Anyway, got that off my chest. But yeah, Bundy, how you doing? How you been the last couple of weeks?
I've been all right. Just working, staying busy, and catching up on some of these shows. Been watching multiple shows at the same time. Euphoria is one of them. Just finished Daredevil season 2, Born Again. I think this is the second to last episode of The Boys this week, starting tomorrow. And finished Star-Lord or Dark Lord, whatever. Shadow Lord, yeah.
With, yeah. Maul, yeah.
I finished that. It was kind of like it just went by so fast, honestly. It really went by fast. I'm really surprised, but hey, it was all right. It was pretty good. And that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, Lady Celeste Orchid back from Japan. So you was in Japan for 4 days, is that right?
7.
7 days. 7 days. And you were there for a week, okay. And you did a lot of cosplay out there, I believe. I think you was there in a competition. Is that right?
Not really. So that was poorly ran on their part. They're like, hey, just show up, do the cosplay parade, and then you'll get judged later. And I was like, but where do we get judged? They're like, show up at the stage. I'm like, so when we got there, it was just really mismanaged. I'm just like, but I don't know where I do this stuff. So I didn't technically get to compete, but I did get to cosplay in Japan. It was definitely a really nice reminder of like how privileged we are in the other side of the world, where we can just show up in cosplay. They're like, no, you absolutely cannot cosplay to the event. Like, absolutely do not do that. Do not.
Right.
So that was eye-opening, having to change in a pitch dark constructed room with all these other people in the dark. And some people brought mirrors with lights just so they could do their makeup. And then there's me trying to lace up my corset in the dark by myself. And yeah, that was very, very a big learning and humbling experience. It was fun. I made friends. I was very happy to do that. And I finished my cosplay in time. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe you brought that big of a cosplay in your suitcase. I'm like, I know, me too. So yeah, it was wild. I'm happy to have competed. I got a special keychain from Riot Games for doing League of Legends cosplays. I did not wear a League of Legends cosplay at that event, but I showed them. I'm like, hey, I cosplay as you fucks. I cosplay as your little characters. I do. I love them. I love League. I hate the fact that I love League. But I got a very special keychain that says like, GG, like good cosplay. And I was like, thank you. I know it is good, isn't it? That being said, I would like to try to compete again in the future, like for real, but I would need to get there like hours earlier and have a cosplay where I could put on by myself, no corset lacing, where it's just like, okay, I can't do this by myself, which I can if there's like a giant mirror, like a full standing mirror. There was no mirror, bitch. You were in the dark by yourself. And by the good graces of anyone else who brought a light up mirror, it helped you. No.
Okay, so aside from not being able to cosplay and travel to the event, so having to get changed at the event, what would you say the biggest difference is of cosplaying, say, in America or UK or Denmark versus cosplaying in Japan?
There was definitely a huge amount of just women cosplayers. I think the ratio of women cosplayers to male cosplayers was like insane compared to like where I went. So I went to Evo Japan, which is a fighting game tournament, and majority of the cosplayers were women. And I was just like, oh, there's like 1 to 3 male cosplayers here. I was like really shocked, which is like, it's still, like you have more of a little bit of a homogenous mix when you're in the West. Not so much in Denmark. Denmark is pretty primarily female dominated, so that feels the same. But there's not as many people who create their cosplays. A lot of people came in with bought costumes, and I was like, oh, I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I expected more people to have like homemade cosplays. And I could tell, I'm like, oh, that's bought. Oh, that's bought. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. Like everyone looks good. And such like that. But I was just like, oh, I expected more home crafted.
I remember one time we were talking about cosplay and you were talking about how I think a lot of the younger people were like some of the, the cosplay personalities and the streamers and things like that who cosplay on stream were doing more bought cosplays. Do you feel like that is the future of cosplaying now, where people are more likely to buy a cosplay, buy a costume rather than make it themselves?
Oh, easily. So the barrier to entry of cosplay is so easy this day and age compared to when I started back in 2005. Where even like finding pieces to modify was like non-existent. So a lot of people can just easily go to like Alibaba or not Alibaba, AliExpress and buy a full cosplay for like $50. So it's like wild. Versus like back in the day, I had to spend $50 on fabric alone or $60 on a wig that I still had to style, and like I can mess up. That's why I hated doing wigs. I do wigs now, and it's just like, no, I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good. So it's just wild how everyone is available to cosplay. The big problem now is more like who is really cosplaying or who is AI cosplaying. So it's like, it's wild. So someone could be like, oh, look at me. Here's my little dance. And then they do a cut take. And then next thing you know, they're doing like their little dance kind of thing, but they're in like full armor. But the thing is, that's AI generated. And you can't tell with their cut transition unless you're like, okay, well, that looks funky. That looks funky. Like, how come you never wear these cosplays at an event? Why aren't you at a venue? Or like, how come you don't see people? And it's just like, oh yeah, it's AI. It's like computer generated. And it's like, wow, that's kind of defeating the purpose of costume play when you're still doing like, ah, look at me doing this dance, like ooh doo doo, and then all of a sudden it's just like, let me just slap an AI filter on top and then like add a mini transition, and then it's just like, but that loses the spirit of cosplay because you're not really costume playing, you're computer CGIing yourself. So with help.
AI play. Computer play. Yeah, have to think of a new word for that. But yeah, AI could be good for a lot of things, but it's not good for everything. You know, so
yeah.
All right. Wow. From going
but
to
there's
Japan.
a lot more Japan. We could always talk about that. It was the most intense trip I've ever done. So, woo!
Was that your first time? Because you've been to Japan before, by the way, right? But that was just your first time cosplaying in Japan?
It was my first time going to Japan, and in my first time like to cosplay, and it is my first time going to Japan solo. So I had no one coming with me. I was all by myself. So it was amazing. It was like life-changing. Highly recommend.
So that's like a break from normal life, a break from everything, and just on your own, doing your thing. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Solo trips for the win. I like to travel alone, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like traveling with people. It's fun because it's shared experiences, shared memories. But yeah, I feel sometimes when you go to places, you just want to be on your own and just get away from everything and just, yeah. But yeah.
Oh, cool. Especially with how I wanted, like, this was kind of like the dream trip for me to go to Japan. So, like, I got to go to all the theme parks that I wanted to go to. There was like one extra park that I didn't get to go to, but it was like a flower park and all of the flowers are gone, so it didn't matter. But I got to do my photo shoots that I wanted to do, and I didn't get to do all the shopping, but luckily I can do online shopping, so it's okay. But it would have just been easier if I was there to see like the products. So it was amazing. Amazing trip.
All right, so in Japan they have ninjas, and you know who was trained by a ninja? DareDevil.
Working on your transitions. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and look at this. He's getting better, guys.
Man. Yeah, man. That's a work on that one.
Getting better.
But yeah, DareDevil, trained by the Hand, which is a ninja clan, and has just finished up season 2 of Born Again, which I guess is technically season 5 of the whole thing, if you want to, go that far back. But yeah, season 2 of Born Again, at least. Mr. Bundy, what was your take on DareDevil Born Again season 2?
Honestly, season 2 kind of had this slow patch in the middle, but overall, based on the starting position and the ending, I feel like it nailed it this season. It was a good season. You get to see a lot of actors playing characters that was from the Netflix side of things. Of course, this is more like, the way I look at it is like almost like an alternate universe, like a parallel universe, because there's some differences. I can't really get into details about which is which. because like the Netflix series was a long time ago, years, but
Okay,
still,
10 years.
yeah. But still, it was great to see them. The plot was pretty damn good. The action scenes were good. I love the fight scenes. I love the fight scenes. Really, I feel
Yeah.
like even from the Netflix series, they had that down packed. So yeah, it was just great to see all of this. But yeah, there were a few episodes where I was like, all right, come on, because it starts doing that whole shit of the hero being the representative of the city, and he's the greatest of them all, or whatever the hell. And it was giving me flashbacks of anytime they have that grounded superhero moment where the average person starts, because they literally have this scene, puts on a Daredevil mask or something that looks like Daredevil to represent
Okay,
Daredevil.
yeah.
And it reminded me of all that shit. We've seen it with I can't really point out specific scenes, but like one of the Spider-Man movies, whether it was Toby, Tom, or I'm blanking on the middle guy.
Andrew Garfield.
Yes, thank you. Where they have this moment, or even Batman, where they have a moment where the fucking civilians are doing it. But in this one, I forgive it because the payoff with Kingpin at the end. Boy, I don't care. Listen, spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled, go skip ahead a minute. I don't care. I can't hold this back. When
Okay, before you say it, just give people just a little bit of time to get their fingers ready.
It's all right.
Okay.
Anyway, so they
3,
go ahead.
2, 1.
All right. So anyway, he goes ahead and he busts that door open, smashes the dude face in, grabs one guy, lift him up, broke him in half on the corner of a wall. This guy is slaughtering people left and right. And you know that meme that they had for a while ago where it was like, who would win? One gorilla versus 100 men. And that's what this shit was like. This man went out slugging motherfuckers, taking them down. And these people still had the heart to fight at one point. I ain't gonna lie. I was really surprised. If I saw some shit like that, I'm out. Fuck justice. Fuck everything. I don't care. Kingpin forever.
Peace
okay? Because crime was down. So I don't care about the injustices at that point. As long as it's not happening to me directly, I'm fine. Whatever. But man, what a good scene. I don't care. People were mad at the ending, but I don't care. I feel like it's fitting, and you already know where it's going to lead to in the next season. So me, I was just really satisfied with that. I felt like it was worth the slow moments. I didn't really like the therapist. I don't like her story. I feel like that storyline is just weird and forced. So I don't like her little sick obsession that came out of left field. So yeah, I didn't like it. Didn't like that shit at all. Bullseye, amazing. amazing. I love that actor. The way he plays that role, they better never. And I swear if something happens where this guy, for whatever reason, he's not doing his role, I'm done watching the series. Because I love that character so damn much.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I definitely enjoyed the season overall, from beginning to end. I mean, I'm a Daredevil fan from way back in the day. It was one of my favorites back when I was reading comics. In fact, at one time I had a Daredevil issue #2. I don't know if I still have it. I haven't, but yeah, Daredevil fan from a long time ago. So yeah, I like the Netflix series. I like the current series. I like that Ben Affleck movie they made as well. I enjoy that too. So yeah, I like Daredevil. Daredevil there's not much Daredevil can do that I'm probably not gonna like. I'm just let me just say that I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, it was a good show. And I think what they did with this Born Again, even with season 1 going into this season, I think the way they've continued it from the Netflix series without it being a direct continuation, but still acknowledging it. And, you know, I think the fact that they've been able to get a lot of the characters back, and the fact that it is about 10 years apart and they've all stayed in pretty good shape. Big up to those guys, you know, really. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. I think, you know, with this season, like, you know, their parallels that they drew between sort of real world events and what they did in the show, I thought that was really interesting as well. You know, that scene with the Kingpin towards the end, like you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, Kingpin's a badass. We know that, but it's also that guy who, you know, because he pretends to be calm, right? But and the thing about Vincent D'Onofrio, the way he plays him just so brilliantly, is that even though we know as we're watching it, he's just pretending to be this, you know, level-headed person. You know, in the way he's performing, in the way he's acting, that he himself is just ready to just rip a dude's head off at any moment, and he's just holding it back, holding it back, and then that scene was like, you know what, screw this. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like that scene a lot. The therapist, though, I thought that was a really good storyline. You said it kind of came out left field. I don't think it came out left field for me. I feel like from what she went through in the first season, and you see how, I mean, you got to remember, she's a therapist. She talks to all kinds of like mentally out there people all the time, and then to go through something like that, that's a challenging thing. So to see how that's affected her, and if it goes where I think it's going, it could be really interesting for season 3, but of course that waits to be seen. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, in any case, yeah, fantastic what they did overall. The fight scenes, like you said, were fantastic. Forget the lady's name, the one who had the uncle that, not BB, who but the other lady who had an uncle that got killed.
Tiger.
The White Tiger, yeah. I liked how she kind of comes more into her own in this season. Oh, yeah, and BB as well is really cool. And bloody hell, Daniel. Oh, let me not say too much. Let me not say too much. But yeah, great season. Did you watch Daredevil, Celeste, or have you watched any Daredevil or read any Daredevil? Or do you know, or anything Daredevil?
So I watched the old Jennifer Garner Ben Affleck movie that had Colin Farrell as Bullseye, and then I also watched the old Netflix Daredevil, which had actual Charlie Cox. Yeah. And honestly, after that, I kind of just like stopped. I believe once they came to the Defenders, that's when I was like, I'm good. I don't like what they did. Like, it was more accurate, and like they actually had a Greek chick playing Elektra, which was like, okay. But I'm just like, I don't like her that much. I don't like that actress that much. So I'm just like, but Charlie Cox as Daredevil, peak. I liked him as that. His roommate Foggy, his attorney guy, got really annoying, but you know, I think he did the job right. Mm-hmm. So I remember that. I haven't watched this one yet because I'm just kind of like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, I'm just not feeling the whole like redo of it. And now, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is like the perfect casting. I don't know if he's the same one in Reborn, but my god.
Yes.
Okay, it is still the same guy.
Yes.
Yes. Peak. He is like the epitome of what Kingpin should always look like. Not this freaking little who Jesse Eisenhower, whoever the balls in this whole, like, you know what I'm talking about, in all these other like ones where it's like, oh yeah, I'm playing Kingpin. Let me just shave my head. I'm Kingpin. Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, no, you need to be a statured man of like intimidation. You should have commanding presence, and he does an amazing job. So like, I will always remember when he got embarrassed in front of his lady, and then he killed that guy in the old Netflix series. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, you know, it's a thing. You don't mess with that guy. It's like, oh man, that guy fucked up. don't do that. Yeah.
Well, speaking of being embarrassed in front of your partner, tell us about Me Before You.
Oh my god. Okay, you want to know something embarrassing before that? Okay, so I watched this as we were landing in Japan, and the ending got me choked up. So I was crying, like, you know, just I didn't make noise, but I was literally sniffing though. So I was like, and like there's tears coming down. Totally embarrassing. We just landed, and everyone's like starting to get their stuff, and then there's little me in my little jacket. Look, this jacket specifically. I'm just and I was like, I just wanted to watch like a cute little movie. It was supposed to be a cute little movie. It's not. God damn it. I got all these stupid reels on YouTube of like, oh, look at us being cute. Look at us get to the races. I'm like, okay, Emilia, Clarke, let me see what you got. So I gave a romance movie a go. Not a good idea.
Oh, I mean, there's some good romance movies out there. Would you say this is one of them?
Listen. It is very good. It makes you feel things. And it's like the ending is kind of not what you expected. So it was interesting in that aspect. Like the guy who's like the main character, like he's well cast. He did a great job. Like you can't help but fall in love with like the super suave guy. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's the top of his firm and XYZ, blah 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 blah. He's attractive. Then you have like quirky dorky like Emilia Clarke, who really plays like the small town girl who has big dreams of fashion, and she looks like really ostentatious, out there, outlandish, garish. And it's just like, what is she doing here? Like, this is the countryside. What are you doing? So it's really cute. That being said, it is not my normal cup of tea. Like, I've never watched The Notebook, and I refuse to because I'm just like, why? Oh my god!
You should.
How dare you tell me to watch that? I put Joker 2 on and I fell asleep on the flight. So there you go. But you know,
well,
we landed
have
and
bad
they put
taste
the
in
lights
movies.
on. I watched Dune 2, but you know, You Before You, it was like so charming, so sweet, and then the ending hit just like the beginning of the movie. So do I recommend it? If you need something to feel a little bit alive, yeah, watch it. But is it like the perfect romance thing? Not really. There's some parts where it really just made you sad. It was like, dude, that sucks. I don't want to watch this. This makes me feel sad. At least for me, it made me feel sad.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the trailer for it. When you said you wanted to talk about it, I was like, okay, let me see if I could find out a little bit about this movie. So I watched the trailer. I did feel like the trailer probably gave away a little bit too much information. But
As
from what I
most
can
trailers
tell,
do now.
yeah, that's why I tend to avoid trailers for films that I know I want to see because they just be doing too much. But yeah, according to the trailer, from what I got from that, it does seem like an interesting film about, you got this guy, Will Trainer, played by Sam Claflin. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, I'm sorry. But he's somebody in a wheelchair. He kind of has this outlook on life that he wants to go to Paris, but he wants to go to Paris as how he used to be, because I guess he doesn't really see himself as what he used to be anymore. But then you have Emilia Clarke, who's, I guess, like the girl who normally wouldn't be talking to somebody like Will Trainer, but I guess finds herself in this situation where they're together and they're talking and become really close, and that whole thing. That's the impression I got from the trailer, and I could be completely wrong, but that's how it seemed to me. But yeah, it did seem like an interesting romance love story. I guess about a guy who maybe doubts himself, but then has so much care and love for others that they start to feel inspired, and then maybe he starts to feel inspired, and maybe I don't know. Am I close? Or am I just way off?
Well, I mean, we've been in spoiler territory. So, anyways, so the guy was like a 10. He was top of his class. He was top of his firm. He had a hot blonde bombshell girlfriend, and then he ends up in a wheelchair because of an accident. So Emilia Clarke comes in as his caretaker because there's a job listing that's like, hey, we just need someone to give our son some company because his outlook on life is like really freaking bleak. Like he just wants to end it. He's constantly in pain because he's paraplegic now. He can only like move his thumb. That's it. So everyone else has to feed him. Everyone else has to help him. And so she kind of changes her outlook for him, and then he changes his, and he's like, I would have never gone for like a quirky, weird, nerdy girl like you. And I don't think she's nerdy, but like the way she dresses is very eclectic. And during the movie, you actually see him with his ex-girlfriend who left him after his accident, and that was by his choice because he pushed her away, and it was really sad. So I was like, oh my god, you douchebag, she really loved you. Like, what the fuck? The fuck, you idiot? Even after you became a worm, she still loves you. I asked that to my husband the other day. And, you know, I'm like, if I become a worm, would you love me? He's like, what's a worm? Like, what? I'm like, if I become paraplegic, will you love me? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So anyways, yeah, it's just stupid. You know,
So he
things
doesn't
that
love
people
you
do
now?
or, huh?
He doesn't love you now. He'd only love you if you become paraplegic.
He loves me now. What are you talking about?
What you said? You said if I become paraplegic, would you love me?
Yes. Would you still love me? He loves me now. Oh my god. He did not finance a 7-day trip for me to Japan because he hates me. God.
My bad, man. I'm playing. I'm sorry.
Yes. Next year, financing my trip.
I'll
That
give you
being
5
said-
quid.
That being said, you're on the money. You know, he's like, I would have never gone for like a shorter brunette like you because he knows like where his dating pool is. He's like, oh yeah, I deserve the best of the best. So like the really hot chick, I can always get the hot chick. So like the kind of wallflower girl, I wouldn't look at her kind of thing. Cause like, yeah, I could get her, but why should I get her? That's like lower than my like standard when my standard is like the tall, hot blonde chick who, you know,
That's
looks like
Vanessa
that.
Kirby, I'm guessing. Then
Ah.
Is that Vanessa Kirby, the ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
I met Vanessa Kirby actually in real life. Well, I say
It's
met. That's probably not a way to describe it, but we've been in the same place at the same time and exchanged words. So,
You met her?
kinda.
So you exchanged words. Were they bad words or good words?
They were reasonable words.
So bitch, cunt, and fuck were in that sentence, right?
Nah, wasn't that kind of
Okay,
meeting.
then it was good words.
All right then. So let's see here. So from a really good-looking fella to the boys. Tell us a little bit about the boys as we I get what on season episode 6? I think it's the latest episode. Was it episode?
Yeah, episode 6 of season 5, and
Episode
this
6,
is like the series finale.
So I've watched myself up to episode 5. I guess you've seen the next episode 6. So it's a couple of episodes away from it being finished. How are you feeling? Because we talked a little bit about it, I think on the last podcast, maybe the one before, but how are you feeling now that we are, say, 2 episodes away from the end? Because I think last time you said something about you wasn't sure about where it's going and, you know, that sort of thing.
It doesn't look good. It does not look good. People could argue and say shit like, well, no matter what they did, people wouldn't be satisfied. And that's not true. Of course, it's true for certain people, but no, overall, people can come together and say a show is good or bad overall. And what they're doing this season is only 8 episodes for the series finale. And they're utilizing this time in the last 8 episodes to talk about, oh well, we're doing character building. That's what Eric Klept, or however his last name is
Okay.
pronounced. Thank you.
Okay.
He's the writer director of this, and it's not like he's incapable of writing good story or anything. I feel like something went wrong when it came to this last season, whether it's too many yes men or not enough time, not enough funding, whatever, or just a loss of focus, that they decide to prioritize bullshit moments. We're talking about sex jokes and this, that, and a third. But of course, like I said last time, I have to cope with the fact that it could be much worse overall. What they did with the show compared to the comics is pretty damn good. So no matter what, I'm not going to turn around and say, all right, so I don't like this ending, so overall the show is bad. No, I would still recommend it to people, because everything that they did good, it was really good. And they still have moments like that in this season. It's just disappointing because it's not impossible to write a good ending to conclude this in a well done way. It feels like they're dropping the ball so fucking hard and needlessly. You have moments where instead of getting more plot, we're getting character building, and it's not even good character building because it's just fucking 2 characters doing dumbass jokes. Really, we had a scene where there's this fucking guy who's like a parody of Thing, right? And when they get to him, the whole point was to try the damn thing on him, right? And to see if the heroes or the soups, what they call them, would die. But he's like a little volcano, and we don't know why he's like that. He's all deformed and shit. But then come to find out it's because he's jerking off all day, and he's just letting it come stay there, and it becomes molten rock. So it's like, yeah, that's the boys type of comedy, but at the same time, this is the series finale, and we just did a whole fucking segment of dumbass jokes like that when you guys already tied in, because they have a spin-off show coming soon that's going to be a prequel. So they're planting seeds for that. They were originally going to do a Gen V season 3, and I'm not really shit. They haven't showed any of those characters this season thus far.
They mentioned Marie Monroe, but yeah, I think they mentioned it maybe 2-3 times, but yeah, that's about it really.
All for Marie was, yeah, she's fighting a good fight somewhere. Like what? What the hell? What the hell is going on? I really want to know. I really want to know what the fuck happened when they went into the writing room and they said, yeah, this is the series finale. What the fuck occurs that so many shows just say fuck it towards the end? I mean, look at Game of Thrones, for example. But man, it's not on that level though. It's not on that level. They're not. This season isn't terrible. It's just disappointing. Yeah, in short, it doesn't look good. But listen, they could probably turn around. Miracles happen. Just like a motherfucker could win the lottery. But we'll see.
Some people get more ruined after they win the lottery.
That's true, actually. In fact, I think I read somewhere about, was it 80%, or some high percentage of lottery winners go broke within like the first few years or something like this. Yeah, so might be a good comparison.
Ruin me, as long as I get the money.
Well, yeah, you might be owing more money than you win afterwards, though. So
I don't care. I do not care. I'll care when it happens.
All right, so yeah, for myself, I've watched up to episode 5, so I've not watched 6 yet myself. I just watched episode 5 today of The Boys season 5. And my opinion so far is that, I think the first episode started off like so much was happening. Like I honestly, I remember the first episode, I was like, did I click the ending episode by mistake? Like it really felt like so much was like just finalizing in that first episode. And of course, it slows down a bit after that for sure. But yeah, that first episode definitely felt like a lot was going on.
Mhm.
The jokes, I mean, you're right. You're not wrong about the jokes. I mean, but I think at this point, yeah, it's par for the course for the boys to do that sort of thing. So I'm not overly bothered about the jokes. It's just kind of the things they do. That come jokes and stuff like that. In terms of being a season finale, I mean, I guess for myself, I've got 3 episodes to go because I just watched 5, so there's 6, 7, and 8 to go, and I guess this is the point where it should feel like it's moving towards something, and it does kind of feel like it's moving towards some kind of conclusion. What that conclusion is going to be, of course, waits to be seen in the next, I guess, few weeks or so as release these episodes bit by bit. I think by the time we do the next episode, it might be just about finished if I'm working it out correctly. So maybe see by then. But yeah, I guess for me, it's I don't use the term disappointing just because I generally try not to have expectations of these things anyway, and just let it do what it does. But it's also like, like I think with the first few seasons, watching those, you're kind of like you're excited throughout. Whereas this one is like, all right, but like you say, we're still a few episodes away. Things can still turn around, and of course, you still need to build things up. You can't just give everything all at once because some things are only as good as they are when you have the context of what makes them good. So perhaps that's what's happening here. Yeah, so I guess it's just a wait and see. I would say this though, there was an episode, and I'll try and do this without spoiling it. But for those who have seen it, hopefully you get what I mean. But there's an episode where they're looking for something, and they go to a place to look for that thing, and then something happens to the boys while they're there, and then I'll just say that Huey and come together. That's probably the worst way of describing it. But the way it goes down, I was like, dude, come on. No, don't. No. In fact, you know what? Let me do what you did, Sweet Bundy. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No way Huey beats M. No, I don't. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Mother's Milk, like the dude's what, former Army, former Navy SEALs or whatever they were doing. Plus, he's just a tough dude anyway. Are you telling me this skinny, scrawny guy just beats? No, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. No. And then he's running away from him. No, actually, he's running away from Kimiko. But even still, no, I'm not buying that. No, who? No, come on. I know this is fantasy, but come on. Come on, no. Anyway, spoiler over, back to normal. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the show so far. And then, yeah, we'll just kind of see how it pans over the next few weeks. Celeste, I think you said before you haven't watched any of the boys. Has that changed since then? Have you watched anything since, or are you still
My boys
not seen any? Yeah, still no boys.
So I did the opposite. I did a Cliff's Note YouTube version and watched someone else's like synopsis. So I'm like, oh, this is wild.
Well, yeah.
So I know a little bit about stuff. Am I good at it? No. So I'm interested, but I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna be a long ride. I'm like, is it One Piece long or Detective Conan long? No.
I don't think it's that long. Yeah.
No. It's absolutely not as long as those. But I'm just like, I got time. I'll figure something out. I'll watch it eventually. There's time.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, as much as I do enjoy it, I'm not sure I'd call it must-see television. I think it definitely appeals to people who are, kind of into, superheroes and things like that, and especially if you're more into it in a different take of a superhero. Like, how would it be in, you know, in a real world scenario? Well, not real world, because of course they take liberties as well. But how would it be in a maybe more, say, political view
governmental like subsidized version? Because like what we did have back in the early like 2000s, maybe before that, was like Heroes back on ABC, right? With like, oh, save the cheerleaders, save the world. And it's like that was one of the first ways we got really introduced to like a more everyone could potentially develop hero super abilities or supernatural abilities. But at this point, like with how The Boys is kind of portrayed, it's just kind of like, oh, we have this whole sanction of like controlled hero kind of people, and then some people have powers and XYZ. And then it's just like, but if you're known and you're one of the top shots like Homelander and like all these other people, then you're like somebody and you want to be somebody, you know. Or do you? So that's kind of what I got. Homelander's dick.
Well, yeah. One last thing about The Boys real quick, actually, just with about Homelander and flipping hell, that dude with the beard, bloody hell, Cole Urban's character, flipping hell, Butcher, yeah, William Butcher, Billy Butcher. I do think there's an interesting comparison between those two characters, because they are effectively, and this is not a spoiler, by the way, or for anybody, but they are basically the same person, but with completely different motivations, you know, and that's interesting to see how that kind of goes, you know, like none of them, well, very few of them you could say are actual good people, you know, in the whole show. There's not really many, like not even on the protagonist side or the antagonist side. There's very few people, and even the people you could say are good, they're not really good, you know. So it is an interesting to see we have basically one set of bad guys versus another set of bad guys that are motivated by completely different things, and then it's just whose motivations do you align with more? Do you align with these motivations more, or do you align with those motivations more? But effectively, it's two bad guys versus each other, and that for me is an interesting way of doing it. Any last words about The Boys before we move on, Mr. Bundy?
Nah, you know, I'm just gonna wait for episode 8 to come out. I know there's just for a warning for some people. Well, I doubt that they're gonna hear this before the finale, but still, I know that the script got leaked. Or not the script. Everything up to episode 7 has been leaked. So people keep posting that in comment sections and all that.
All right, so be careful online if you're a Boys fan. If you're The Boys fan, or I should say. All right, so in The Boys, there is a crooked corporation known as Vorts. But you know what else has a crooked corporation? Aliens. The Weyland-Yutani Corporation, very crooked. But yeah, I want to talk just a little bit about aliens. Specifically the 1986 movie starring Sigourney Weaver, or along with Michael Biehn, and Bill Paxton and Jeanette Goldstein. Bunch of people in it, great cast. It's a sequel to the 1979 movie Alien. So it's got S on the end because it's plural. There's more of them now. But yeah, it's I watched it again recently. I mean, I think I watched it for the first time probably 100 years ago at this point, whenever. But yeah, watched it again recently, and it's kind of interesting when you watch a film again where you haven't seen it for a long time, because it's almost like, you know, you're watching it for the first time because you've forgotten so much. But of course, there's bits that you remember very, very clearly, like, you know, hey, Vasquez, you've got mistaken for a man. No, have you? You know, that yeah. Anyway, but the reason why I wanted to talk about this movie is because as I was watching it, one of the things that stuck out to me is the fact that you have these characters that very rarely, if even at all, make bad decisions, or make stupid decisions, more specifically. And what I mean by that is, even in the first movie, like, there's times where they do silly things to, you know, advance the plot. And lots of movies do this. Lots of horror movies, sci-fi type movies do these sorts of things. And to be clear, I'm not saying that makes the movie bad. Some of my favorite movies have characters doing all kinds of stupid things. Some of the best movies out there have characters doing all kinds of stupid things just to advance the plot. It is what it is. It's fine. I'm not mad at that. I ain't saying that makes it bad. I'm just saying that with this movie, with Aliens, you don't really have that. Like I feel there's only maybe one moment you could say a character made a stupid decision to advance the plot. And even then, you can't really call it a stupid decision. You know, so I just thought it was like a really interesting that this was 1986, this film was made, right? And since then, you don't really get that in movies that much, you know, like in horror movies. You know, even in Scream, you know, when that came out back in 1996, and that kind of tries to flip the horror genre on its head. And it did, to be fair, it did. It did a lot in terms of addressing and analyzing horror and horror tropes and stuff like that. But then you still had characters just kind of doing silly things to advance the plot, you know? So, again, it doesn't make the movie bad, but it's just interesting that you see so many movies where you have these characters that make these silly decisions to advance the plot, to advance the story. And that's happened before Aliens, and it's happened since Aliens. No, I'm not suggesting that Aliens is the only movie that's done it. I'm just saying that it's a rare example. And it's just interesting to me that back in 1986, they made this movie where you said, okay, you've had this character who went through Sigourney Weaver, who's gone through this traumatic experience in that first movie. Now you're making a sequel. What's going to get her to go back to this place? And I feel like they really kind of thought about how you do that. And it's not, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back because, you know, I'm trying to get. She's frightened. She was her whole crew was killed by this one thing, this one alien. Of course, she doesn't want to go back. You know, of course, she's not trying to like. You know what I mean? So I just felt like how they did it and how they explain it and how they make it happen, and just the whole movie itself. It's like you just really get these kind of like dumb decisions just for the sake of making a movie and advancing the story. And I just thought that was really interesting. And the fact that since Aliens, it's still something that's quite rare in horror / sci-fi movies. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about Aliens. So yeah. Have you guys seen Aliens or any of the Alien movies?
I have seen, I think, the first Aliens, maybe, where everyone dies and then the xenomorph comes up and is like, "Yee!" And then I watched Prometheus.
Okay, yeah.
That was wild. Michael Fassbender is like really good in that role. It's like really weird.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a wild movie. I'm like, I would hate to be in that situation. Oh God, fuck that. All right. I will re-res or just call it there. I do not want to ever have that Prometheus situation in my life. That was wild. I'm like, we do not need to explore the thought of, is there life out there after watching that movie?
I mean, yeah.
What? You mean what?
I mean, it depends, because you want to know if they're friendly aliens like Alf, then it's cool. But if they're xenomorphs, yeah, nah, forget it. Yeah, that's just.
Did you watch Prometheus?
I have seen Prometheus. It was a while ago, though, so I might be forgetting a few of the details, but I have seen Prometheus.
There's like that human Adam white dude that just fucking massacred everyone. I don't want that. I don't even know if that exists. And then that thing has to fight like the thing that gets cut out of me because Mr. Fassbender puts it in the water, and then I go have boink a boink, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this thing's growing at an alarming rate. I got to get lasered out with no anesthesia. Like, oh God, I'm good. I'm traumatized by that movie. And I've had kids. But the whole thing is like, I don't want to see Mr. X from Resident Evil butt-ass naked coming at me from millions of miles away in the universe, being all like, here, I'm going to slap this guy. And then he's splats against the wall like Mortal Kombat. Like, God, no. Like, I don't need to know that. If we have Alf, like E.T., or any of those other little cute Disney aliens, cool. But don't get me sick. I'm already sick. But not that guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, not the xenomorphs. Or the predators. I think we could do without predators as well.
Oh God, no.
The
Do you
outros.
think I would
we
survive
don't know
against a predator? I'm like, God,
Yeah.
no. I hardly survive at an anime con. I'm just kidding. I thrive in those. You know what I mean? Let me talk about something really quick. I'm so sorry, Buzz. Yeah, we're gonna get back to you on this. Did you see the rounds that are hitting on the TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube reels? Okay,
Rounds?
there is a Yuji Itadori cosplayer in Singapore at this big ass event, and he's beating the shit out of this guy. This guy is a known convicted pedophile. So he was wailing the shit out of this guy, and he was pulling out all the anime punches. And it's just like, yeah, he's like stopping this guy, and no one else is stopping him. Like no one's stopping him from beating him because that guy posted on his socials. He's like, hide your kids, like, it's like, ew. And it has been convicted. Like it is in the Singaporean system that he is a felon who will do inappropriate things to those.
And just let him out in public?
Yeah.
It's crazy. What's the guy that beat him up? What's his name again?
Well, the cosplayer is from Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's Yuji Itadori.
Yuji Itadori. Hey, big up Yuji Itadori.
Cosplayer.
Doing good work out there. That is mad that they even just let him out in public, convicted, and he was bragging about it. Yeah, beat his ass.
Yeah. It's just wild. And there's like several different kind of like views too. So there's actually his own video where he's like, I'm here at the event. And then all of a sudden you see him like look away. And then he gets boom, bitch. It's really good. And then there's this other person who's like just standing like yay back yonder, safe away. And then you just see Yuji come in like Superman his fucking face, kicking him on the ground, beating him with his fists. I was like, yeah, this is appropriate. This feels appropriate. You got to get that cursed energy out of that bitch. Anyways, so predators and aliens and bad things. Buzz, have you seen any alien movies?
Not at all. I never even watched. Like the only thing I've seen is like some brief clips of the most famous parts. You know, the shit that you would see in the trailer.
Right,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean,
like all you need.
No, I don't think that's true. They are great movies. I mean, the first movie, Alien, is very much I would describe it as a survival horror.
It is,
in a sense, yeah, in a sense that it's very atmospheric. It's very claustrophobic. You have this group of people who are basically just miners, trying to get their cargo back. And then, they find themselves in a situation where they're having to deal with this perfect killer monster, and they're not army, they're not military, nothing like that. They're not trained fighters, they don't have much in the way of weapons or armor, and they're having to figure this thing out. They're on a spaceship. They ain't got no help coming anytime soon, or at all, really, because, well, as we know, Weyland-Yutani, crooked, but that's later on. But yeah, it's very atmospheric, and I think what they did with that first movie is really good. And like I know I said about, the characters do make some silly decisions, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's still a great movie, So absolutely. I mean, Alien is what I'd call a must see in terms of like, especially if you consider yourself to be somebody who likes cinema and somebody who appreciates filmmaking, and especially films that have gone on to inspire other people, inspire other filmmakers. Like Alien is one of those films that it should be in your list of films to watch. Like it's not a film you can no, it's a film you should watch. Like you need to make time for a film like that because it's such an important part of cinema history. And that's no like hyperbole to say that. Like it really is just an important part of cinema history in terms of what it did at the time. And yeah, just in terms of how it inspired other filmmakers. So yeah, Alien. I mean, the whole Aliens series of movies, of course, that they're up and down as they kind of go along. But that first movie, second movie, I would say are pretty much must-sees. Alien and Aliens. After that, Yeah, take your pick. If you want. If you want. But yeah, definitely the first two. Definitely first two. All right then. So you know what? Let's talk just a tiny little bit before we end today about mummies. Just a tiny little bit. We don't, you know, we don't. Well, tell us a little bit about mummies, Celeste.
Okay, so I seriously thought this would be really stupid, but it was actually kind of cute of like an animated movie of like mummies actually have a second world in the afterlife and they still can walk among the living. It was kind of wild. And I was just like, this is interesting. And they played with some unique little ideas. Like this guy, he's like a famous charioteer. And it's like, what the fuck is a charioteer? I was just like, I guess I'm going to have to do some research. What the fuck this is? No, this guy had like PTSD from driving a chariot and having a chariot crash. And I was like, oh, is that possible? Could people have like serious like PTSD, like, you know, a car crash kind of thing? Like, I don't want to get in a car again kind of situation. So this guy had like PTSD of being like, oh, I can't even do my job anymore as a charioteer. I was like top in the world. And then like there's this princess and XYZ because, you know, Egyptian royalty. It was kind of cute. It's kind of cute. Little kids movie. It didn't need to be anything more than that. But it's just like, where did this come from? You know, sometimes DreamWorks creates random movies, and this is one of them where it's just like, oh, it could have been good. You know, maybe. I've never seen like an advertisement for like this movie before. So I gave it a watch on the flight. And like I watched it and it was just kind of cute. Had some cute little bops here and there, but it's just a little disappointing that it's just like, oh, yeah, it should have got a little bit more like love, I feel like. Because I think it would have intrigued some kids like ideas into archaeology and probably like ancient history.
Okay, yeah, I've never heard of this movie myself. Just looking it up now. Came out in 2023. It's an hour and 28 minutes long. The top review when I search on Google is from The Guardian, and I'll just read the headline. Mummies review. Nonsense kiddie flick should be avoided like a plague of locusts. I'm guessing you disagree with that review.
Well, like it's not meant to be more than what it is. You know, like when people push an adult agenda on a kid's movie, you're not looking at it for who it's intended for. You're looking at it as
Right.
like, am I entertained? Like, is this good enough? Is the story like crazy? Is this like something that I should be entertained with? It's like, this is a kid's movie. We don't need any extra agenda. Like, the whole premise is that the mummy princess has to get married and she ends up meeting this guy and then he loses the ring. So then they go on this grand journey where it turns out like he loves her and supports her. And there was just some quirky moments. But is it like a terrible movie? I don't think so. I've seen some pretty terrible movies. And Over the Hedge is probably the worst animated kids movie I've ever seen. So it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think that's something I'd agree with in terms of when people do reviews, they often don't consider who is that actual intended audience for this movie. Like, not everything is for you, and the fact that you don't like it as an adult might mean that they've actually done their job. They're making a movie for kids. So yeah, I've not seen Mummies, but maybe one day I'll spare an hour 28 minutes. It's on Netflix right now, so maybe.
Oh, is it really?
Maybe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. You can watch it for free on Netflix. Well, not free because you got to pay for Netflix.
If you pay for that streaming service, you may have it.
Hopefully, all you do have to pay for Netflix and not have to pay for a TV license on top of that. But yeah, enough of that.
Just you. You know.
It's me.
Just you.
Oof. That would hurt.
You need a VPN that shit. Actually, okay, question. So if you VPN it, would you have to be hit with that pricing bill?
I'm gonna say a VPN probably won't get around a TV license. That would be my initial guess, though it might depend on specifically of how exactly they monitor it. But my initial guess would be that because the there's ways they can monitor who's got TV licenses and not that don't rely on VPNs anyway. So I'd imagine that wouldn't be the thing that gets you out. But I don't know, maybe some big brain will figure it.
That doesn't make any sense because a VPN is supposed to protect you from being like watching your shit. And also, if you're only on the internet, you'll be using your VPN, so your point location is redirected to a new point location. So you could be watching anime on Netflix in Japan when you're really living in the UK.
Yeah, you know? And that's how it works generally. But I feel like with the BBC, because I know before like internet stuff, they'd had ways of like monitoring who's got TV licenses and who not, like before the whole internet serving streaming. So I'd imagine they'd have ways of figuring out who doesn't have a TV license, even if you are using a VPN. I don't know what those ways are, but I'm just guessing if it's something that comes to pass, it's probably something they've already thought of. But hopefully it just doesn't come to pass because that'd be a bullshit rule if it does.
I mean, I'm just thinking out loud because it's like the whole point of having a VPN is to protect your data.
Yeah.
And then potentially they might have to goes across the ocean. So
they might have to like make new VPNs that get past whatever new crap they're coming up with.
I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see. Have you watched Mummies, Mr. Bundy? Or does that sound like something you'd like to spend an hour 28 minutes on?
I mean, this is the first I heard about it, actually. Yeah. But a lot of the animated films seem to just get kind of swept under the rug. Like they have another one coming out that I only heard about it because of Michael B. Jordan, and there's like a lot of hype around him right now because of everything that all the success from the movie Sinners as of late. Man. But anyway, yeah, he's in this animated film called Swapped.
Right.
So I don't know what it's about, but I've just seen people giving attention to it mainly because Michael B. Jordan. And
oh yeah,
shit, I love that.
He's quite an actor. He's really good.
Yeah. I've been watching him since The Wire, and that was a long ass time ago.
So I tried watching Sinners. I'm like, oh, this is too heavy of a movie for me. I'm just like, oh, too serious, too quick, too fast. Like first like 10 minutes, I was like, oh, too much, like too recent, too much. No, can't watch this.
No, it's really good. It ends up being just about vampires.
Sinners is fantastic.
Wait, there's vampires?
Yeah, that's what it's about. Vampires.
Oh, wait, spoiler.
Is it really? Like there's a lot of racial stuff in there, and I'm not comfortable with that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, but
I'm not comfortable in it because like it's still part of American culture. Like people are still getting like problems. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but like 2 cosplayers took their lives because of racism against them. So like anything that kind of has like kind of stigma, I'm just like, ooh. I kind of like just shy away from it.
No, I get it to a certain extent, but when it came to this film and the plot and everything, it's kind of, if they didn't do that, it would have felt weird. It's one of those type of things.
I would say just one thing. I disagree. It's not just about vampires. Like that's kind of I feel that's a kind of oversimplification because there's definitely a lot going on. Vampires play a part. But yeah, there is a lot of the racial history that plays a part as well. So yeah, what you're feeling is all there. But I'll say if you've watched From Dusk Till Dawn, which was the movie that
Quentin Tarantino, there he hired Salma Hayek so he could pour like beer down his foot, and
basically, that movie. If you've seen that, it's similar to that. I mean, I guess I replaced a toe sucker with something. But let me not get into that. But yeah, if you've seen that movie,
Salma Hayek scene in Sinners, I'm out.
I mean, it's not Salma Hayek, but there's things. I guess instead of let me not say too much. Let me not say too much. But yeah, it's a very similar movie to From Dusk Till Dawn. So if you've watched that, if you've enjoyed that, I think you'd enjoy what they did with Sinners. But yeah, it does make a lot of reference. I mean, it's set during the 30s, I think, was it 20s or 30s, but around that era. And yeah, so yeah, racism, yeah, that does play a part in it as well. And it makes a lot of stuff that as a non-American I didn't clock right away. And I'd watch videos on it afterwards that were explain what certain references were, and then you kind of realize how deep it goes. And it's like, oh, okay, I see. So yeah, there is definitely a lot to it. There's a lot to it. But yeah, it's a great film. Absolutely. That is a must-see movie as well. We're talking about movies. That must-sees. That is a must-see movie. But yeah, was it last year it came out? It was recent. It was last year, wasn't it? But yeah, great film. Great film. All right then. Well, hopefully we're not sinners and we're all as we come to the end of this episode. Sal's giving me that look. Like that was Sal's looking at me like you almost had it. You started off so well, and then you just dipped. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this particular episode of the Uncivilized Art Podcast. Let us know what you think about anything we talked about, whether you agree, disagree, or somewhere in between. But that's gonna be all for now. So until whenever, if ever,